All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little video after the AFC divisional game goes to the Chiefs. 27-24. Patrick Mahomes once again gets over on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and it will be the Chiefs and the Ravens in the AFC title game. We'll talk more about it coming up next. But first, we are brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. Get the brisket chili, get some pulled pork, house-made sausages. It's all great at Pig and a Pickle. And, of course, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. Underdog Fantasy brings you this video. All right, the Chiefs. Travis Kelce scores twice, and the Chiefs beat the Bills 27-24 and advanced to face the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. They played it today in Orchard Park, New York. Travis Kelce would catch 2 touchdown passes. Man, Mahomes is just never going to be denied. And the Chiefs advance to what is their 6th straight AFC Championship game with a 3-point win over the Bills. Isaiah Pacheco had the go-ahead touchdown on a 4-yard run 40 seconds into the fourth quarter. This was a hell of a game. The lead went back and forth 5 times, and then the Chiefs clinch it by winning, by running out the clock, I should say, after Tyler Bass was wide right. Very Scott Norwood-esque. Tyler Bass, who's a really good kicker, but he's missed a couple kicks, at least that I've seen in the last couple of games. Wide right on a 44-yard attempt with 1:43 remaining. That would have made it 27-27. And so the Chiefs move on to face Lamar and the Ravens, and the top-seeded Ravens, who wind up beating Houston 34-10 with a big second half on Saturday. I mean, what more can you say about Mahomes? I mean, Mahomes is special. By the way, Kansas City's 0-1 again in the playoffs against the Ravens. They lost 30-7 in the 2010 wild card round. And then Baltimore defeated Kansas City 36-35 in their most recent regular season matchup. That was week 2 of the 21 season. But, man, what can you say about Kansas City? I mean, they have never lost in the divisional round since Mahomes took over as the starter in 2018. They've won 5 consecutive playoff games, since their 27-24 overtime loss to the Bengals in the AFC title game during that 21 season. So they are just a tough out in the playoffs. Andy Reid's still one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach going. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Simple as that. He's a 2-time NFL MVP. He can put the thing on his back, and at times does. He makes big runs and makes impact plays. So, for Buffalo, once again, they keep getting close. They got this game in Buffalo. They finished fast. They finished the game. They were on a 6-game roll. So, what can you say? For Buffalo, they win their 4th consecutive AFC East title. But their road to the Super Bowl ends here, and Josh Allen, once again, the best quarterback in the NFL who doesn't have a ring. Now, Allen was 26 of 39, held to 186 yards. I thought Kansas City's defense would keep him in check, and they did. He threw only 1 touchdown. He also ran 12 times for 72 yards and 2 more. So, but other than that, Chiefs defense held James Cook to 3.4 a carry. So they did a nice job. Overall, Buffalo ran 39 times for, 182 yards and 4.7 a carry. So Buffalo got it done on the ground thanks to Josh Allen. But if you look at it, when it gets time to have the Bills play the Chiefs, one major difference is L'Jarius Sneed dominates Stephon Diggs. Diggs was targeted 8 times. He only caught 3 balls for 21 yards, and he didn't get in the end zone. So Kelce had a big day. 5 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know there'll be people complaining about calls the Chiefs got tomorrow, but man, Kansas City's good. 13 tackles, 5 solo for Nick Bolton. What a great linebacker he is, the former Missouri Tiger. But L'Jarius Sneed, 5 tackles, 3 solo. Trent McDuffie's a terrific slot corner. Karlaftis is coming on. Chris Jones is always a force. Willie Gay has got incredible speed. So Bolton and Gay as linebackers, what great second level speed they have. And then Butker made a couple field goals, and Bass went 1 for 2. And there's your difference. Kansas City gets the win. They take on the Ravens. Kansas City's had a rough year because their offensive tackles have drawn a lot of penalties, and their receivers have dropped the ball. I mean, really, the entire team has dropped the ball, but the receivers lead the NFL in drops with over 25 in the regular season. But in this game, Marquez Valdez-Scantling made a couple plays. He had a 32-yard catch. Rashee Rice had 4 catches for 47 yards, and Kelsey kind of led the way. They still don't have an overwhelming receiving core, and I think 27 points is probably where they top out. But Mahomes is Mahomes, and he will put this team on his back, and he will make big plays, and he's just a great competitor. So it started with Bass with a field goal and then Butker with a field goal, and there was 3-3 going to the second quarter. And then Allen had a 5-yard run to make it 10-3 Buffalo, and then Butker kicks a 29-yard field goal to make it 10-6. Then Kelsey scores from 22 yards out from Mahomes to make it 13-10 Kansas City. But then Josh Allen ran it in after a 12-play drive and went 75 yards in 3 minutes. And so it was 17-13 Buffalo at halftime. And then Kelsey catches the 3-yard pass from Mahomes to begin the third quarter. And Shakir, who's a terrific young receiver, he has the 13-yard pitch and catch from Josh Allen to cap a 15-play drive. And you're thinking, okay, Buffalo's going to maybe win this game. It's 24-20 in the third quarter. But the Chiefs put together the drive in the fourth. Isaiah Pacheco, 4-yard run. And they score an 8-play, 75-yard drive. They go up 27-24. And, Buffalo got close, but ultimately they missed the field goal at the end that would have tied it. So, Buffalo is a really good team, but, man, they were just – the injury bug bit them hard, all in one area. A lot of their linebackers got hurt late in the year. And so now Kansas City's moving on. And, all I'll say is that Kansas City, Baltimore is going to be a terrific game. Because, Lamar, absolutely is playing at the top of the game right now. I mean, he's the MVP of the league. He's absolutely amazing. And the Ravens can really run the ball, and the Ravens have a great defense. And Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen have so much speed on that second level. And then Hamilton and Stone in the middle of the field pick off passes at a ridiculous rate. I think those guys have combined for almost a dozen interceptions. And Baltimore's defense in the middle of the field is really, really good. But Kansas City is going to be a force. It's going to be played in Baltimore. But Kansas City, I mean, it's hard to go against Mahomes. I mean, right now, Patrick Mahomes is just the best. He is the standard by which all other quarterbacks are measured in this thing. So really a terrific game to watch, I thought. And, watching Mahomes, you can feel the competitive fire from Patrick Mahomes. Buffalo had more first downs in this game, 27-21. Buffalo ran 78 plays, only 47 for Kansas City. Buffalo had more total yards than Kansas City. Buffalo ran for 182 yards and almost 5 yards a carry. I mean, Buffalo did a lot of things. But they did have 5 penalties for 28 yards that hurt them. Kansas City only had 2. Buffalo was actually +1 in turnovers. And still wound up losing the game. So the Bills held the ball for 37 minutes and kept the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And Mahomes held it for less than 23. So major time of possession advantage for Buffalo. But Mahomes is Mahomes, and he's just really good, and he can absolutely make big, big plays. And he just does. I mean, and tonight was no different. He just kept making big plays. And you just look at Kansas City at that on the next level, or the next step, I should say, against Baltimore. And man, that is going to be a battle. That is going to be a battle. Lamar is taking care of the ball. I mean, look at the game that he had this weekend. He threw for 152 and then he ran for 100. He threw for 2 touchdowns and he ran for 2 touchdowns. 11 carries for Lamar. He averaged 9.1 a carry. Ravens ran for 229 yards against the team that led the NFL, the defense that led the NFL in yards per carry defense, I believe. I believe the Texans were number 1. So, man, Dalvin Cook got in the mix, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, but it was mostly Lamar. So Lamar is absolutely maybe the best player in the league right now, and Mahomes has been the best player in the league over let's say the last 4 or 5 years, and they're going to battle in Baltimore. And Baltimore doesn't have great receivers. Zay Flowers, it's not like Baltimore's got great receivers either. Kansas City doesn't either, but Zay Flowers is pretty good. He caught 4 balls for 41 yards. But Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Odell Beckham, not great. Not great. But they did a nice job defensively because, man, Roquan Smith had 2 tackles for loss. Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Darby, Kyle Hamilton, Matabuke. I mean, they're playing really, really smart football up front, and they're good on all 3 levels of the defense. So it's going to be a ball game. It's going to be a good ball game. I won't make my pick yet, though I'm probably leaning with Kansas City on the road. I could, if you said make me go with one direction or another, I'll go Kansas City Niners for a rematch. The interesting thing from the 49er perspective is no matter who wins, if they win against Detroit, they get a Super Bowl rematch. Do you want the rematch with the Ravens, or do you want the rematch with Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs? Of course, the Niners already lost to the Ravens this year, so it would be a double redemption game. But you know what? I don't know. I'm not sure what I want. Kansas City, maybe Kansas City, just because they've struggled offensively this year. But Mahomes is so special in his competitive fire, and they still have Pacheco, they still get Kelsey, and Rice is a very, very nice receiver, and all they need is a couple other guys to make a catch or 2. That defense for Kansas City is still, really, really good. There's a lot of talent there. And Brett Veach, the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, has done an incredible job when you look at some of the stars that they have on that defensive side. They got a really fast defense, impact players on all 3 levels. And this might be the year where Mahomes does just enough offensively, and the Chiefs defense carries them to the finish line. So I'll lean Chiefs and Niners in championship game weekend. We'll talk a lot more about it on both sides of both those matchups as the week progresses. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And of course, thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.